Here I am playing a next-gen game on a next-gen machine, the Xbox Series X. But this is only really a taster of the next-gen experience, rather than the full 3 courses. You see, the console that I've been using for the last couple of weeks is pre-release. That means that lots and lots of things, from the user interface to its overall performance, will be tweaked and changed by the time people get their hands on the finished machine. So, for the purposes of a preview, we can only really talk about a limited number of its features.
Now put up your dukes! I'm no stranger to fisticuffs!
The first next-gen games we get to preview are certainly an odd couple. Japanese RPG Yakuza Like a Dragon and racing title Dirt 5, 2 completely different games that demonstrate that the next generation looks quite a bit like the current generation, but with a bit more polish. A role-playing game with turn-based combat like Yakuza is perhaps not the best title to show off this new machine's abilities.
Wanna fight?
A slightly surreal take on life as a Japanese gangster, it looks nice enough, smooth frame rate and sharp visuals, but it's not what you'd call a poster child for the next gen.
Da-da-da-da! Never fear! Part-time hero is here.
For that, you need a game with a bit more visual razzle-dazzle, which is where racing titles usually shine.
Off-road racing across a huge variety of tracks in all weathers is the order of the day here. But again, apart from good but not amazing visuals, I'm yet to get any of the next-gen feels from either of these games.
Much has been made of the Series X ability to drastically reduce load times.
This is thanks in part to its NVMe SSD and the Velocity architecture, which joins up all of the console's new hardware to some smart software. There are still load times, but they're much shorter. When we compare it to the machine it replaces, you can see the differences appear. If you're playing No Man's Sky on the One X, it takes about 1.5 minutes to load. On the Series X, it's about 20 seconds, much faster. And when the game's up and running, we see some stability improvements in the visuals as well. Then we come to Quick Resume. On current gen machines, if you want to play a different game to the one you're already playing, loading up the next title can take several minutes. Now, it's just seconds. On Series X, Quick Resume drastically reduces the time it takes to switch between titles, and games pick up right where you left them. So far, I've tested this to be able to resume about 5 games at any one time, but that could change with the finished machine.
Lots has been made about backwards compatibility on this generation of consoles. And there is a very large back-compatible catalogue that the Series X can play.
It's also been suggested that next-gen games will cost as much as £70 a pop, and the launch lineup of titles for the Series X and PS5 isn't exactly stellar, so a back catalogue of older but well-regarded games helps bolster the proposition. For Series X, it enjoys quite a lot of backwards compatibility, with a lot but not all old Xbox games. That includes games from the Xbox One, 360 and original machine. That, in conjunction with the Game Pass subscription service, which gives players access to a growing catalogue of titles for a monthly subscription, softens the blow of expensive next-gen titles. Onto the machine itself. The designer behind the new Xbox Series X took the box bit of the name to heart when they put pen to paper, or stylus to screen, designing Microsoft's latest home console. It's a commanding presence in the living room, much larger than the machine it replaces, the Xbox One X. While the older machine discreetly slots away beneath TVs across the globe,
the Series X towers next to the TV. It looks a little bit like the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey. However, like most of us during lockdown, it seems to have piled on the pounds. It is a big bit of kit.
It can be arranged as a tower or on its side.
This is just wrong. Look how weird it looks.
But its guts are more powerful than the machine it replaces, so we can perhaps forgive it taking up the same amount of space as a hot hatch. Other things of note, the controller is much like the old Xbox controller, but now with a D-pad similar to the one found on the current Elite control device.
And the console itself, while visually it takes up a fair bit of real estate, is whisper quiet. When I'm stood over the top of it, I can hear almost nothing, and I'm right on top of the fan. If this were a human being, I'd be sticking a mirror under its nose to check that it was breathing.
We're now in the final straight before the launch of all of the next-gen consoles. We'll bring you reviews of this and its cheaper, less powerful sibling, the Series S, as well as the PS5 ahead of their launch next month.